And of all the options that were on the table, which ones can you confirm so far that you can pick tonight?
Oh, confirm. No, I actually can't really confirm any until we go through a process of training this morning. So we're optimistic on Todd. We're certainly optimistic on Todd. We're optimistic on Charlie. We're less optimistic around Travis. But I think they'd be the ones you're asking me about mainly, I think. Well, look, I expect Todd to get through and play. Expect Charlie to get through and play. I don't expect probably Trav to get through and play.
And Tom Jonas, how do you deal with that one? Is he an automatic return to the side?
No, Tom will play for the Magpies this week. We're in really good form. Tom's missed a bit of footy now over the last month, and as a good leader of our football club, he understands that the players who come in and played last week played really well. Lockie Jones was really strong, and we think we're going to get Todd and Charlie probably back in our team, which allows Birdo to go back and play as a backline player. So that makes it a bit tight for positions in the team, and it'll be good for Tom to get out there and run around and have a kick with the Magpies. It'd be a great opportunity for him to, as the leader of the club, is to lead a young team.
So what's the detail on Travis Boak? What are you dealing with there now?
There's nothing sinister. He's just copped another significant knock in the same area as he copped in the pre-season. And we knew in the pre-season it took him quite a period of time to get over it, as you would expect. Look, this week it's not quite as bad because he's pushing a little bit to play this week. He's going to get out there and have a run around and see how he goes. But as I said, I'm pretty honest. I don't think he's going to get through, but I expect that he'll be available next week.
How did Tom take it that he's playing in the SANFL rather than coming straight back in?
As you'd expect Tom Jonas to take it. That's why he's the leader of our footy club. He understands the team's going really well, and he would never put himself in front of the team regardless of his position. He's very accepting of what's going on, and he also knows it's good for him. It's good for him to go back and have a game and get some form and make sure he's in good nick when he comes back in, because he's been interrupted over the last 5 weeks, I think it is now. He's had suspensions and he's had an injury that he copped a bad hit, and then he got another suspension, so he's missed quite a bit of footy over that period of time. But most importantly, it's around the team's performing really well, and he understands that.
Do you expect it to be just a 1 week down there?
It just depends on how Tom plays, how we play. We know Tom's a proud man, and he'll go out there and give his absolute all and play really well, I imagine, and on Sunday. But that doesn't guarantee anyone in the team selection straight back into a team. So
it's a big call though. Most skippers around the league, it's pretty rare that they've spent much time in the reserve.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree with you, and I think that's the reason we're getting the questions we are now. It is a big call. It's a significant call, but it's a call of a team that's in really good form, and really consistent with our behaviours, and we don't separate anyone, whether it be the captain or a first-year player. That the opportunity to play comes about through form and performance, and the team's performing really well, and Tom missed out last week.
You spoke about the emerging leaders earlier in the week, and the reason that's sort of been a catalyst for this season. Does that give you more confidence, the young leaders, to leave out guys like Tom?
Well, we get confidence out of the team's performance at AFL level, particularly because we're on a reasonable winning rate at the moment, where we're continually winning tight games. So leadership doesn't seem to be an issue. I mean, we're winning tight games, which I think stress your leadership as much as you can possibly get stressed, and we've been able to stand up and get those jobs done. So I think we're really comfortable, and Tom is too. That's really important. Tom's really comfortable that with Ollie and Das underneath him particularly, and then the next emerging group of young players, that we feel as a team we're not, and no team is, and I always say this, no team's reliant upon one person, whether it's one captain or whether it's 3 leaders or whether it's one coach. It's just not done that way nowadays in football. It's done by the broader group, and the broader group needs to stand up.
Ken, if you've got a long memory, you don't need any reminder of the last time you played Hawthorn. Is there a sense that you owe them?
No.
What happened that night?
No, yeah, every time you play, you owe them because you want to win. What happened in round 2 last year doesn't really matter in round, what are we up to, 12 or something this week? So it doesn't really matter. I mean, we see it every round, that we see performances differ from the last time. So you don't ever go into a game. You go into a game preparing to play in that moment, and that moment for us is we know what's been making us successful. We understand the threats of the quality of the opposition. We'll never underestimate that, and we go to work as hard as we can.
So what's your read on Hawthorn, considering
I think they're
6
emerging.
weeks ago they were described as a team that was tanking, and now they're
By who?
doing anything? Well, we won't go there.
That's why we shouldn't go there, because it's described by the external people. The reality is the people internally know exactly where that. I think Hawthorn Footy Club, the way they're emerging as a young group, it's pretty exciting for them, I'd imagine, but a real challenge for us. We want to dull their excitement this week as much as we can.
Helps not having Sicily in defence for them.
Yeah, well, any good player out of any team helps, but as you've seen over a period of time with our team, your personnel are certainly significant, but they don't stop a team from performing more often than not, as long as you don't have a large number missing.
And Ollie Lord has obviously done pretty well over the last couple of weeks. He could be an unlucky omission.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, he could be. He doesn't do. If that's what happens, at the end of the day, Ollie knows he's had great growth and he's learned a lot. And there'll be plenty more opportunities this year for Ollie to play AFL football. But if any doubt with Charlie or Todd, Ollie certainly would stay in the side.
Ken, you've had half a year now of a new system with the sub. What's the difference between the medical sub and the tactical sub? What do you reckon you've learned after half a season?
Oh no, it's not significantly different, I don't think, because most of us would like to keep caution and make sure you've got them available still after half time without injury, and then it does free you up to start to make some tactical decisions and what's required from the team, and manage minutes of players, whether it's do something different with structure. There's a lot of options for you in the second half, but very, very few teams I would have thought would make it a tactical sub in the first half.
Have you debated it more than you did last year? Who becomes a sub this year?
Because it's a much more practical player that you can actually use. So you can use, as I just said, you can inject it into the game as early as you like. So you need to make sure you've got a lot of bases covered with what you're doing in that area.
With the selection of Narkle last night, do you think that the likes of Mead aren't far enough advanced to be getting a regular game? Why Quinton?
No, I think they're certainly not. I think what Quinton does to us is add depth to that group of players who are a forward mid or mid forward. They can add a little bit more to your game, and we've seen quite often, we can pile up a few players who go missing at different times, and we wanted to have good coverage. And I think he's a desperately unlucky player, and I think that's what our recruiting team thought of him. And I met with him, and he's in really good physical shape. He's been playing really strong football at Essendon in the VFL. I think he's crying out for an opportunity. I think he's an AFL player who is not in the AFL system at the moment. So when you get an opportunity to take that, we had some views on other players as well, some younger players, but we felt like for where we are at this season, that Quinton was the best fit for us.
You play a few games this year, do you think?
I hope so. Yeah, that's what we're picking for him, and we've proven over the two mid-season pick times with McIndy and Bryn Teakle that we don't wait. I think Bryn played 1 week after he got here, so I'm not putting any pressure on Quinton, but hopefully he plays very well on Sunday and then the Magpies, and he's pushing up for selection at AFL level. I think he's pretty desperate. I mean, he's a pretty good story with second chance opportunity.
Last time Tom was out of the team, you said it was a pretty easy decision to bring him back, even though he wasn't in great form.
Yep.
I think it was ahead of the Essendon game.
Yep.
What's changed this time around?
I think you're smart enough to know that he's missed a lot more football. I think that's pretty clear. He's missed a lot of football in the last 4 or 5 weeks. So to try and just pop that one on the table, I think is probably a little inaccurate with what he's been missing for.
What would 9 wins straight, would that mean anything to you, Ken?
Means a lot. Means a lot in the scheme of this season. It just means we keep our position and we protect our position on the ladder. And we know at round 12 that it really doesn't matter. You just need to keep numbering up with wins, and the more wins we can get, the better. That's because there's going to be a time in the season where this competition narrows in on everyone, and you just got to have enough wins in front to give yourself a bit of breathing space. We don't want the breathing space for a mistake, but the reality is AFL football is tough to keep winning. We're going after not just 9, we're hoping to get to 10 and 11 and whatever that is. We're going to go as far as we can, hopefully, without losing games. And we've seen a side last year go a long way with winning games. It puts you in a really healthy position. Competition's so even, it opens up a gap. And I think that's what's really important for us, that we can't take our eye off the ball in any way.
How's Bryn going? I noticed him walking around in the moon, but
he's got a sore foot. We're getting some more detail on that foot. We don't expect him to be available for the short term, probably short to medium term at least. But we'll get all that information. We'll release that out this afternoon. He's got a bit of a foot issue that we'll get some clarity on scans today and make sure you're all aware of it.
And when was that from, sorry?
On the weekend. So we're in the process of collecting all the information, and we've been doing that since Monday.
Ratio, will he play central?
Yes, he will. Yeah, it's another great story for us. We're starting to get him back and fit, and he looks really good out in the training track. So we're optimistic for him, and we just hope he gets a fair crack at it. I mean, we know the quality of the player. He just needs some time to be playing football. It'll help him hopefully come in and add to our senior side.
Just the last couple of things for storing information for later. When you can win games and score winning scores without Marshall, without Dixon, and all those big forwards, what does that do for your thinking later on in the season if things get difficult?
No, it just gives you great flexibility and great confidence that you're capable. By changing your person, I said this just before, by changing your personnel, not by lots, is manageable by any team if you've got a good system in place. And at the moment, clearly our system is holding up pretty strongly. So it just gives you confidence that you can cater for an unexpected loss of a player that you don't want to lose, but you can cover for it.
So that's reassuring if it comes later in the year, you're not going to be guessing what you have to do.
No, we'll have good knowledge. We'll have good knowledge and good understanding of what the capability of our full squad is, not just the people who are playing.